Good day to you, my snackadoodles. Welcome back. My name is Jack, and we've got some more updates today. Let's just go straight to it. Am I the a-hole for reporting my Tinder date to the FBI? It all began just before Christmas. So I'm 27 female, and I recently went on a Tinder date with this guy, 32 male, who works at a nuclear power plant. Seemed interesting over text, but the actual date turned into a complete nightmare. He shows up 45 minutes late, no apology, just starts bragging about his job as a shift leader in the control room. His attitude was really off-putting. He talks about having power over midgets and vermin, and by that, he means people in general, which was really disturbing. He ranted about how much he hates everyone he sees and how he wants to cause chaos and destruction. Okay, no, You're dating a Disney villain. Was he wearing clown makeup and having a strange stink eye towards anyone in black suits? I tried to steer the conversation to something else, but he kept fixating on his job. Then things got really worse. He starts bragging about knowing how to trigger a reactor core meltdown, laughing about it like it's some kind of joke. I couldn't tell if he was serious, but it totally freaked me out. It seemed like he was getting a kick out of the idea of using his position to cause a catastrophe. I ended the date early, went home, and couldn't stop thinking about what he said. Was he trying to impress me in a sick way, or could he really be dangerous? After a lot of thought, I decided to report him to the FBI. I figured it's better to be safe than sorry, right? But now I'm second-guessing myself. Some friends think I did the right thing, but others say I should have just ignored it since he was probably joking. Can't shake the feeling I might have overreacted and potentially ruined someone's career over a bad joke. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole for reporting my Tinder date to the FBI for bragging about being able to cause a meltdown? Now look, it could have been a joke. It does make me think of that study that was popular around back in the time. Basically, it was found that people have more enjoyable times and experiences with people when they have an accelerated heart rate due to whatever activities or engagement they're doing with the other person. So essentially, if you want to make a real lasting impact on a first date or so, take them on a roller coaster, that sort of thing. Unfortunately, it seems this person has dodged the idea of excitement and more, I'll get her heart running by scaring the hell out of her. Yeah, that'll excite her. That'll make her gush for me. Women like bad boys, don't they? So I'll be a literal villain. My laughter is sexy. Because it's evil.
Yeah, you should move out of Springfield.
Okay, but jokes aside, I think it was a good thing to do. Even if it was something they overreacted to, the dude was displaying enough red flags that even if they were never actually going to do this, even if this was their dark comedy humor, you wouldn't say these things on an opportunity to make a first impression if there wasn't some truth behind it. Thinks people are vermin and stuff? Yeah, okay, buddy. Do you think OP was being dramatic, or do you think they actually took the right path? In case you do think OP was a bit loopy about it, here's something interesting. Someone literally named Fact Checker, which is great for them being knowledgeable about this, does argue that OP might not have needed to believe him entirely, as there's a lot of safety mechanisms and such for power plants, understandably, and thank God there is. Basically, it's not that easy for one employee to just be able to flick a switch and destroy the whole place and cause what they're trying to do. But someone grabbed a snippet of the OP saying he had a really complicated plan to shut down the coolant, which included drugging his co-workers and barricading himself in the control room. He also said he had some convoluted loophole to get past automated safety features. Look, maybe he was completely full of it and making it up, but it sounded real to me. So a day later we come to the update. What exactly happened in just 24 hours to get the OP to need to inform us? Hint hint, I was right about the Joker reference. Dude absolutely blows up my phone after the date, sending literally over 100 texts and voicemails. He gets increasingly angry that I won't respond. At first he goes on about how I'm the perfect girl. I'm the girl of his dreams. He wants me to be his sidekick as he conquers the world. I'm the Harley Quinn to his Joker, yada yada yada. Then he gets increasingly angry and deranged as I won't respond, leaves these crazed voicemails where he's going on and on about I don't know what. He starts going on these incel rants like r/nice guys or whatever, going on and on about how women have never given him a chance and how he's gonna teach them all a big lesson. So I finally give in and respond. I'm mad and want to knock him down a notch. I tell him I contacted the FBI and sent him the Reddit post. He says he doesn't care because there's no way they can get him. I tell him he's full of it because, according to many experts who commented here, commercial reactors have too many automatic safeguards to prevent a lone SRO from doing anything dangerous. So he sends me this picture of a thumb drive. He says the thumb drive has some code written in C that will disable all the secondary and tertiary safeguards and the emergency scram shutdown. He says he's a self-taught cybersecurity genius and he knows how to disable all these systems. He told me this plan to drug his coworkers and lock himself in the control room, and explosives rigged up to police from coming in. He told me this is all to punish women and whores who never gave him a chance, and to start the incel rebellion. Then he gave me a choice to be his queen or to perish like all the other vermin. So I had enough at this point. Sent these messages to the FBI, also sent everything to the NRC and the Homeland Security tip line as people suggested. Still haven't heard anything. And look, I doubt you will. I feel at most they're probably just going to put this on a tab of this guy's weird antics, and until he does something actually, I guess, more of an escalation, it's just going to be treated as, okay, this guy's clearly loony, but if he keeps going on about it, yeah, then we'll cuff him. After all, as this comment says, he's a super hacker with a minor in explosives, no less. Well, of course, everyone is a super secret agent mole ninja who can't tell you about the last op her went on because it's classified.
Yeah, I'm a super duper secret agent from Mars.
And honestly, people, have you all forgotten the first rule of Super Duper Super Special Extra Special Secret Agent Club?
Don't talk about super duper special extra special.
Shut up!
Extra special secret agent.
Shush!
No, okay, this is clearly a lie. I have been to Mars, and no one there has ever heard of you.
If someone told you, I'd have to kill you and them.
Oh, that explains the look of fear in their eyes. I just thought that was because I was naked. Now, over today, I screwed up for a fun little tale of a marriage being destroyed just before Christmas. Yay! Today, I screwed up trying to add novelty lobster oven mitts to my wedding registry. Now, I'm rethinking things. Oh, Lord. I'm a 24 male, and I met my fiancée, 26 female, in college about 6 years ago. We were instant sweethearts who bonded over both feeling out of place at the fancy California state school we ended up at. Things have been going decently well for years. I love her very, very much. My fiancée has always had some unique quirks, but she has a diagnosed anxiety disorder and is from rural Idaho, so I maybe give her the benefit of the doubt a little bit too often. Something I have been silently aware of is the fact that my fiancé has always been a little weird around black people. Now, I am white, and so is she. But I was adopted into a black family when I was little, so my whole extended family is black. My best friend, Tim, is also black. We grew up in the same city and were roommates the first 2 years of college. My fiancé has never liked Tim, despite being my childhood best friend and someone who is clearly important to me. She always has said that Tim is too loud or rude to her, or that she doesn't like the way he smells. She's always tried to get me to hang out with other white friends over Tim. She even suggested I have her best friend's boyfriend as my best man over Tim. At the time of all these things, registered as weird, of course, but as I said, she's a very naturally quirky woman who does strange things sometimes. I told her that I still planned on having Tim as my best man, and that was that. Ah, yes. Casual, suggestible racism. How quirky! Not gonna lie, in his defense, I find myself being very socially ignorant too, so I would totally be this kind of person who would just not notice this until it's very, very much in my face. Hell, I was once rehearsing a scene in an acting class, and others observing or participating could also give some feedback as you're doing your scenes. One person did. I said, okay, great, thanks for the feedback. And a bunch of people came to me afterwards, coddling me, asking me if I was okay, and how dare that person be so rude, and they actually kicked them out for how they were treating me. I just thought they were giving constructive advice. So while I dig on this guy for not noticing the obvious racist treatment he's giving his friend, I also heavily sympathize with his ignorance. Flash forward to today, and wedding planning has been going great. My 3 sisters, along with my fiancé's best friend, are going to be bridesmaids, and my wife is supposed to pick out and order bridesmaid dresses by the end of next week. We've been having a ton of fun building our wedding registry. We live in a nice house, but are working on remodeling the kitchen, so most of our registry is kitchen stuff. Earlier today, I saw an ad for some hilarious but tasteful lobster oven mitts, and I grabbed my fiance's laptop and added them to our wedding registry. But to my absolute horror, when I opened her computer, the browser was opened to a search along the lines of colors that make black women look ugly. I looked through her search history. What colors wash out dark skin? Worst bridesmaid dresses for dark-skinned women. Literally dozens of searches across these lines. I closed her laptop and put it back, but I feel like I have to bring it up after she gets home this afternoon. I know it's her big day, but this is seriously raising some red flags. I feel like I'm going to throw up, but maybe I'm reading too far into things. So there you have it. The moment fiance's racism is actually slapped into his face. So typically with these sort of things, there's those few people who assume this is just complete bull. Typical creative writing exercise, especially with things like the fiance complaining about his friends smelling. Yeah, okay, that's obviously not something that racists actually do. Oh, hello, anecdotal evidence. This is a weirdly common thing among Southern racists. My mother's favorite racist comment actually is because she believes that she doesn't like the smell, and so she's not racist, just sensitive. She's racist as hell. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because I'm originally from the southeastern half of the US and have been deeper south too, and yeah, for some reason, racists will say they smell, they have big noses, lips, call them dumb or stupid, lazy, fat, etc. They attack their physical features a lot. Intelligence, work ethic, bathing habits, clothing they wear, highly inappropriate comments are made about females, males too. It's just insane the things they pick out to complain or hate on people about. Oh, and by the way, with the OP apparently never responding to comments, oh look, a response from the OP. What I will say is that she's never had any explicit issues with my sisters to their faces. She was happy to include them in her bridal party and goes on girls' trips with my two younger sisters almost every month. I think her being nice to my family made me blind to the fact that the stuff she was saying about Tim was likely racially charged. Tim is a really nice guy who doesn't have it in him to make a big fuss about himself. I think he knows I really like her, so he's able to laugh it off most of the time. But he's my best friend, so we're gonna talk about it. Another thing I'll add, I doubt the fiancé is even aware of just how heavily racist she is. She probably just thinks in her quirky nature that this is just her digging on people without any, underlying racial prejudice. I'm sure we've all come across plenty of people who are very friendly to all ethnicities, but still have that slight comment here or there, a slight jab here or there that makes you think, okay, wait, are you just not aware of how much of a racist piece of schmidt you actually are sometimes? I don't necessarily think that this fiancé actually wants all these black people to never exist at all. I think she just merely doesn't want to have to deal with them as much as possible. Still racist as hell, but very different to, KKK levels of racism, Anyway, a few hours later, Opie comes back with an edit. I called my oldest sister, who I'm closest with, to try and get her read on this stuff after reading the comments. I hadn't even considered that maybe she was trying to be helpful in some sort of backwards way by finding a flattering color or something, but really, some of the wording of these searches really feels racially charged, so I doubt it's that. My sisters have always had much better interactions with my fiancé than Tim. Honestly, I think that's why it took me so long for all of the racial weirdness to sit in. My sister was kind of shocked, but mainly laughing. She's never had an explicitly bad interaction with my fiancé and never got the racist vibe, her words, from her, but has always thought she was super weird, like maybe the Zodiac Killer. But here's the thing. When I was talking to my sister, she started cracking up and told me that my fiancé had sent her pictures of the bridesmaids' dresses she was thinking of last night when she was searching for all of this stuff. They were the nastiest, most washed out, beige yellow dresses I have ever seen. I think my sisters are all beautiful women and they would probably look just fine in these dresses, but the fact that my fiancé had chosen them out of some weird racially charged evilness makes this all feel really sour. I told my fiancé I'm going to Tim's tonight for a beer, which I am. I want his perspective because I feel like she's the most explicit when talking to him, and maybe there's some things I don't know about. I feel like I've been a terrible best friend if all this time I've been enabling her behavior and excusing it as her just being a weird person. Nothing is off officially yet, but I do feel like this has really opened my eyes and made me aware of some traits in my fiancé that I feel like I was just too stupid to see. On to edit number 2 after talking to Tim. Tim has really changed my mind about a lot of this. He ran to the corner store to buy me a pack of my favorite smokes and really helped me calm down. I was flipping my lid when I got over there. He's like the brother I never had. So he agrees that there's been a few times where she's made some unsavory comments, but he denies there ever being a time that has made him really uncomfortable outside of some off-color jokes. He knows my fiancée as long as I have, and he kind of gets the cards on the table. She can really work herself up and get paranoid, and maybe she was having an irrational moment when picking out the dresses. He said he had no idea that my fiancée even had a problem with him, which honestly kind of broke my heart. Tim's a great guy. I am really hoping we can work this out. I'm going to have a real conversation with her when she gets home this evening. I'm going to try to come at this completely honestly and let her explain herself before I jump to conclusions and assume my girl is in the clan or something. So how do we interpret those conversations? Both of this friend and his sisters both exclaim that they don't really feel like there's any actual racism coming off from her. Maybe some off-color humor that can be considered rather racist, but it comes from someone who's just ignorant as to how heavy those sort of jokes can be, not someone who genuinely wishes that their race would erase from existence. It's still certainly questionable, her Google search terms, but again, you'd think if she was trying to shame and embarrass the sisters at this wedding, she wouldn't do it so, openly towards the sister, actually communicating the outfits and all that kind of stuff. I feel like she'd be kind of, leaving it as a surprise. They wouldn't have a chance to be like, no, this will look terrible on me, etc. Anyway, with those theories in mind, what does the next update bring? Everything's off. It ended with us getting into a screaming match and her telling me to frick off and that I'd rather suck that N-word's dick than to be with her. I feel like I'm dreaming. I ended up in a pretty bad spot after everything happened. I've spent the last 6 years not really being a person. She really relied on me to be her constant mental stability. Once it was officially called off, I just felt really scared. It felt like I had hit my head and I didn't know who I was. I was convinced that the solution to feeling like this was to smoke some mother-flipping salvia, but Tim talked me down and I ended up smoking some bud and taking a little shrooms. We went and saw Trolls at the movie theater to keep me from getting too in my head. Now, I wouldn't recommend coping with substances the way I do, but the absurdity of the last 24 hours required a factory reset. I'm doing much better now. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. There aren't many updates here. The house is in her name, my dog's paperwork is in her name, and that stings the most. She handled a lot of the financial stuff, and honestly, it's going to be a nightmare to get everything settled. I'm having a lot of troubles posting updates without Reddit nuking them as spam because I'm usually a Reddit lurker. So if anyone has any advice there, I'd appreciate it. I don't know how many communities this post is circulated to, so if there's a common thread of questions, I can try to answer them. It's a few days later that OP moves on to r/confessions, where we learn a bit more info about this being the worst day of their life. Naturally, with a story about a insane racist, people have become skeptical and have started harassing the OP on the internet about it. They go on to exclaim about how they've never been hit by a woman before, they didn't hit back, so it leaves one to wonder if things got a bit physical when they had that confrontation with the now ex-fiancé. Thankfully, it seems this subreddit is a bit more forgiving or at least supportive. So, that's nice. It's good to know that the people are praising this guy for dodging a bullet and prioritizing their happiness and their friend and family's health over, fiancé getting away with their scummy schmidt. Now, the story ends inconclusively over in legal advice, where OP asks the subreddit about their dogs being registered in their ex-fiancé's name and how they can hopefully get them back. Basically, everything was in my ex's name because she was really numbers-oriented and handled most of the money stuff. I've surrendered to the fate of not getting the house or my truck back, but I'm really hoping there is some way I can get my dogs back. Her name is on the adoption paperwork, but I have been paying for their vet bills the last 3 years, and the vet has me in their file. My ex doesn't take care of the dogs at all and probably plans on selling them. She just doesn't want me to have them. Thanks. I swear to God, legal advice, if you don't find a solution for this man, you all don't deserve to be on that subreddit. Operation Save These Dogs. We better get a happy conclusion to this story. Now over to a story I never wish on my worst enemy. Me and my sister found a video of our mom, and she thinks it's of her cheating, but I think it might not be. We can't agree what to do with it. So my sister found this video on my mom's laptop. I think she was using her laptop for some school stuff and she might have gone snooping through her personal files. Well, she found this video. It's from a few years ago, according to the date of the file. It's definitely our mom in the video, and it looks to be in some hotel room. There's definitely a man in the video, but he's holding the camera and we don't see his face or hear his voice. I don't want to go into any detail, but it's basically a striptease/intimate tape filmed by the man, so while our mom is clearly identifiable, I can't tell exactly who the man is. I first got angry at my sister for showing it to me. I told her, this is gross, I don't want to see that. She told me she thinks it could mean our mom is cheating on our dad and we should at least present the information to our dad. I told her it's very likely that it's him in the photo. You can see the man's hands in a few shots. I think it's my dad. She seems to think it's not him. So I told her, if we show it to them and it is him, not only will we be embarrassed, but they would be mad at her for snooping. She was like, why do you care? I'm the one who did the snooping, so only I'll get in trouble. I'll cover you if they try to get mad at you. Oh, look. Foreshadowing. I told her there has to be a more sensitive way of approaching the situation instead of just bombarding our parents with, hey, we saw your mixtape, which could either be with you or your mom's secret lover, and we should consider the fallout. However, she seems pretty adamant that she just wants to show them. She thinks it's the safest option, since if she was cheating, she gets exposed. But if it was just dad, then no harm done. Just, except for the fact you admit to letting your parents know that you've seen them bonk. We can't agree on what to do, and I have a feeling she might show it to them regardless of what I feel. But if I push hard enough, I might convince her of an alternative solution. Any ideas on what we should do? So some are just blown away by people discouraging OP and the sister from telling the parents about it. Like, oh no, you're afraid you'll get embarrassed? Ooh. Like, that is nothing to be ashamed of in comparison to finding out someone's a cheater, It's like finding the proof of a murder and being like, oh, but I don't want all the publicity on me. Ugh. Others wonder if your sister is actually following her intuition, or does she just have a history of stirring up drama? After all, even if it is some other guy, how do you not know that maybe your parents are actually into that sort of thing? Your parents clearly wouldn't share their personal lives like that with you. You don't know if this is something completely consensual or not, and if anything, you're just going to embarrass them even more as well. But overall, yeah, your sister found the tape. It's for her to deal with, not your problem. You don't need to step in or try to stop anything. Your hands are clean. So with all these comments, the OP does make up some plans. I like the idea of sending it to him anonymously, maybe through email or something. If it's him, no harm done, and he doesn't know it was us. To which people say, okay, but if it is him, and you send it anonymously, he'll be freaking out about who has it and how they found it. Not to mention his reaction might be to get the police involved, in which case you are literally sending around, non-consensual footage, non-consensual distribution of said footage. So OP theorizes again. Okay, what if we go up to him and tell him there's something we need to show him on the laptop, and then while browsing it in front of him, we pretend to stumble on the thing for the first time. We can be like, oh, what is this? And if he genuinely doesn't know and says open it to find out, it means he doesn't know about it. If he's like, no, don't click that, it means he knows. But again, many are to say that, okay, once again, buddy, what if this is just an open relationship your parents aren't telling you about? You gotta consider so many other factors here than just your mother is definitely a cheater. Also, not to mention, this is a footage of your mother on your mother's laptop. Unless she is some insane narcissist, why would she have POV footage of just herself of the time she was sleeping with her alleged affair partner? I think they'd at least be in the footage together. if it was something for her to personally savor. But don't worry, folks, with 26 downvotes, OP finally has a concrete plan. We're going to sit mom and dad down, tell them both at the same time that while we were using their laptop, we noticed there was a lot of junk, and then when we were cleaning it to make it run faster, in the process, we accidentally stumbled on this file, mistakenly opened it without knowing what it was, and we closed it as soon as we realized. We won't tell them we watched the whole thing, and we won't tell them we suspect cheating. We'll say that the reason we're telling them this is because we think they should have saved the file in a more secure location, or maybe on a separate hard drive or something, so it doesn't get hacked into. If my dad knows about the tape, he'll be like, okay, that makes sense. If he doesn't know about the tape, well, now he would. Not gonna lie. Sounds foolproof. Sounds legit. So how does it get executed? Update? Yeah, things didn't go so well, unfortunately. I kept arguing with my sister. I told her if she's so certain they're cheating, the least we could do is ask Dad first if he knows about the tape, but not mention that we've seen it. She was determined that it was cheating based on the hands and the feet. She was like, those definitely aren't Dad's. I told her she was creepy as hell, if that was them in the video, and God knows how many times she's watched it. Like, she was basically watching a video of our mother naked and sleeping with our dad's dong. Even if it wasn't our dad's, it's still gross. She didn't care. I told her if I couldn't stop her, she should at least leave me out of it. I want nothing to do with it. Well, she went nuclear. She went and told them everything and embarrassed the hell out of herself. Turned out her little detective work was way off. It was Dad in the video. Our dad was angry, but mostly bewildered, but he just laughed it off and got over it. Our mom, however, didn't take it so well. She had a panic attack. She went nuts. She was like, what the hell is wrong with you kids? Now, I tried to stay out of it, but my sister dragged me into it and named me as her accomplice, even though I had warned her against it. Our mom was so hurt and upset, not only that her daughter would so brazenly accuse her of cheating, but that her children had watched an explicit tape of her. She was really traumatized. She couldn't take it anymore. She got up and left to her parents' house, where she's been there for a whole day to recuperate. She only called our dad to speak to. She won't speak to us. Our dad told us to just give it time until she's feeling better. Yeah, here's the thing. I reckon what's made the mums just so horrified by this experience isn't just because they saw a tape, but one of them clearly was studying it. Like, you couldn't make so many accusations about something without actually, reviewing it multiple times to confirm your theories, etc. She's basically gotten what's essentially a corkboard out and is like taking photos of all the feet and like taking weird foot shots of her dad secretly behind his back while he's asleep or something, I don't know. Oh, here we go, comment says that exactly. I'm just picturing the sister printing out stills and pinning them on a corkboard with a red string connected to various theories and suspects, including close-ups of her dad's hands and feet, and noting, not the same! Cockboard. Yeah, as this comment says, the sister was so confident she was right that she didn't really actually consider the ramifications of being wrong. It seems the sister has lived too much of their time in the Reddit comment section of Am I the A-hole, and believes that any slight hint of possibility of cheating is definite cheating, and you must tell everyone as soon as possible. Anyway, friends, we might end today's video there. Thank you for listening to today's stories. Hope you be good and have a good rest of the day or evening, whatever time you're watching this video, and until next time, I love your face, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.